right, coming in good. It's cool to have this because back in the old days we just yell over all the noise, and then by the time we're going home, we can't talk for a couple days. I talk a lot of trash, and he was saying something earlier. I want to help him out on the subject. He's making crucible steel, and he can call it whatever he wants to. And if you're offended by it, you got a little weak, tiny little mind. You got to go find something else to be offended by. I've been making knives for a long, long time, and I've run into a lot of other people who are totally offended by anyone who's actually doing something. So he's doing something, sharing some great information with us all here, and expanding our minds. You know, when you make knives and you make knives out of all these different materials and somebody else comes along and goes, hey, here's a novel way to make this stuff. So I want you to give him a big hand because that was a great presentation and I appreciate you. So I'm Jason Knight. I am a bladesmith. I am from the southeast, like Charleston, where it doesn't get this cold and flat. It's flat, but not as cold. I moved to Tennessee, so I live in the mountains of Tennessee because they wouldn't have me down there anymore, and that's okay. But I have been a professional knife maker since 2001, but I have actually been making knives since 1987. So some of you in here who think you're older than me, you're probably not, which I always think is funny. But I wasn't smart enough to do anything else, so I just decided I'll make knives. So when we're getting into this and we're forging blades or we're doing blacksmithing, which these cross, generally blacksmiths have a lot better forging skills than bladesmiths. I found out later when I would study with blacksmiths like Brian Brazil. You guys know Brian Brazil? So I love his techniques. You know, I've really picked up a lot from him and play with it on my own, but I like to forge things in a lot of different dimensions. So today, you have the right voice control now, yes. I told him to turn that on, the Darth Vader one. So we got this crucible cake, and we're going to forge a lightsaber out of it. All right, you gotta fix, is it fixed now? So my idea here, we have two pieces, so 2 tries. I'm gonna forge a little integral kitchen knife out of, or maybe it'll be an integral hunter. I don't know. Let's see where it goes. And I will probably not talk as much as Seth did. He did an excellent job yesterday of explaining each process. I'm going to do it, and then I'll go back and narrate over it in a couple weeks. You won't be here then. You can narrate yourself. I like to watch somebody doing something and have the sound off, and then I make up the words that they're saying. That's more fun for me too. I'm going to try these tongs. I'm going to start on the hammer just to break this down into some stock that I want. We'll go to a rectangular shape, I hope. So let's just bear with me and we'll see if we can make it work. Any questions before I get into this? Okay, good.
Do you want to try these?
I might try those too. Ooh, I like these.
Those are Steve's.
Steve's. The Schwartz?
King.
Oh, Steve King. Never heard of him. Oh, my ears are already screaming. I'm gonna put some earbuds in real quick. Which one holds better. That's the first trick, is to find the right tongs to hold the tools. And if you have a shop and you have 2 pairs of tongs in there, go get more. It's not enough. Definitely like eating with chopsticks. Okay, we're gonna go all the way back over here. I'm gonna try these instead. All right. How cold do you think I should let this go before I put it back in? Not cold. Okay, good answer. I like that answer. I'm a fool with the other one too. We're gonna just do both of them at once. All right. So it's looking really good still. I don't have any cracks. So sometimes when you're working with steel like this, like another type of woots, which I have used before, go really slow because it's already formed all those dendrites and there's space in it. This stuff is really solid, so it seems like we're not going to have any issues. Except for me being afraid of this fork. I want one of these forgers, but I'm also it's like talks too much. Come on, you. Looks good still. I think I'm gonna stick with this cake and just keep going. That's one of the most awkward things is just how do you hold it? I got where I liked using tongs for everything. When I first started, because I was a bladesmith, I would weld handles on everything. But when you learn how to use the tongs like that, you start just using them. So what's cool is there's a set of tongs for everything. And most of them had are not good for anything. You guys experience that? Steve Schwarzer has a shop full of tongs, and there's only 2 of them, I think, that are good for stuff. I don't know what the other ones are for. You make tongs for one specific thing, you know? Oh, that's loud. Okay. This breaking down time will take a minute, but once we get there, it'll start going quick. You know, once we get like bar stock, which is generally what everybody starts with, a square, a round, or a flat. Flats are the easiest shape to make a knife out of because you already have in most of the dimensions you need. But I like working like this because you just have a big lump of steel, take it anywhere you want. That other one ain't hot enough. Just play with both. Okay. I'm just gonna make that flat curve. So because I don't really know what I'm getting into, when I see a shadow, I just want to go ahead and heat it back up. You guys ever cold forge high carbon steel? Stop doing it. Don't do that. I was watching a lot of people do it yesterday, and never understood the benefit of doing that. When you're forging a blade out of high carbon steel as opposed to like mild steel or any of these other ones, it'll crack. So if you quench your blade and it's cracked, it's because you were forging while it was dark. It's also not moving. I don't know if you haven't noticed that, but if you're banging on it when it's cold, no movement. Anybody experienced that before? No. Pretty good. I'm just looking for anywhere where it might split, but this is really solid. This is great crucible steel. Woots. I'm gonna call it Woots whether you like it or not. Brush, wire brush. Okay, good. Still looking good. No, it's good. Looks good.
It's just that funky little end right there, right?
Yeah, it's okay. fall down. Get back on. One of the cool things about this steel, still sound on, is this is two blades that we had a shop fire about 2 years ago. So these are two of the knives that were in the fire. The fire didn't necessarily damage the steel or the blades, but they were just crusty and nasty. So at a certain point you go, I'm gonna throw it in a scrap pile, which I have hundreds of knives in that pile at this point. Marinate for a minute and then we'll get back into it. Turn this off just for a second. All right. Okay, so going through this process where, I haven't made a point yet or anything. I'm still just breaking this down. And it's just part of the steps, you know what I mean? If you're getting into this and you're new to it, this could be the trickiest part, like where to go. I remember seeing a lump of steel, and I was like, how does someone make anything out of that? But the more you start playing with it and messing up, and don't be afraid to mess up, especially if you're working on knives, mess up, grind it off, cut it off, throw it away, start it again. Stick them all together in a crucible and make some woots. And then you can just take all that stuff left over and do it again. Who is offended by that word, woots? Look at the shirt. I'm not offended by woots. I'm trying to think. There's one guy I know in Hawaii. He might be, Peter Berg might be offended by calling it woots. So what? He's not here. I'll smack him in the face, man. Knife making, I haven't ever been really beat up too bad by other knife makers that were aggravated by my banter, but okay. I'm just gonna let them get hot. Why is that feedback? I got a metal rod in my leg. Is that one? Might be my ears. Oh, it could be that. No, I don't know. Just gonna let them get hot again. They look like they're I'm working them both too much and they're cooling down quicker, so. Once I get the bar, I'll isolate it, and I'll start making a blade, and I'll make a point, and I'll start stretching out. That's a lot of steel, actually. When I was looking at that little cake, and everybody probably used to, if you guys ever seen the knives I make, I normally make really big knives, like this. This is an example. Okay, this is a little knife, but I like to make big knives because I grew up in a swamp down in South Carolina. So I was always looking for a machete or how I could modify it, or a hatchet or how I could modify it, because I was trailblazing. I grew up in a place where there are trees that have never been cut. Have you ever heard the term primeval forest? I grew up in a primeval forest. 1800-year-old trees. You can go up inside of them and they're still alive. It's really wild. If you get a chance, go down there. It's in the low countries, giant cypress trees, beautiful place. And the swamp there is moving water. If you probably run into a swamp here, you probably don't find moving water. So, but I was always looking for that ultimate blade, and I would find a lot of like Filipino knives from different knives from the Philippines, like barongs and stuff, and then a kukri, that's one of my favorite ones. But then I would make my version of them, like I'd modify them to be what I wanted. So that's why I make a lot of those knives. A lot of times we make knives and we don't know why we make them, like Bowie. Who likes to make Bowie knives? No hands? Oh, you do? You like to make a Jim Bowie knife or a David Bowie knife? Because I like to make a David Bowie knife, a little more bling, little different, Yeah, okay. So, if you guys, when you're forging something, do you think, especially with knife making, I used to think the forging was making it magic. The magic to me is taking a bunch of broken pieces of steel, making them into a cake of an ingot of steel, and then forging some useful item out of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the magic part. Not necessarily you're going to make it better by forging, but you're going to make something from forging. Does that make sense? So that's one of the coolest things about it. It's like just idea, creating on a hyperdimensional quantum level when you're thinking about it. And then the first act of making it real is by drawing it, and then making a prototype, and then going to the forge and hammering it out. And then you go through this whole process, and it's violent reduction. It's kind of wild. And then you end up with a finished blade, a kitchen knife, a hunting knife, or a David Bowie knife, you know? All right, I got to get my ears back on because that is painful. Yeah, I'm impressed, man. There's no anything. There's no splits or cracks or anything. This is really cool. Very cool, very cool. Now we're getting a chunk of steel here. We'll get this down to like 1 inch by 3/4 inch, and then I'll start doing something else to it. I'm a little slower than normal. I got my leg broke, so. Let that cook.
Might hold a little bit better.
Okay, cool. stuff is hard, bro. You turn off for a second. Okay, any questions about, I mean, this part is kind of boring, but what's wild about this steel, because of my experience, is the higher the carbon content, the more difficult it is to move the steel, usually.
It's 1.4%.
1.4% actually. See? You gotta have fun doing this. Maybe it's because I'm standing on a metal grate. Maybe I'm facing north. I don't know. These are, so, do you guys ever use the fiery furnace forge tongs? Yes? You should go get some if you don't. They just have some little pickup tongs. Man, those are they're really good because the handles are springy. I yelled at somebody yesterday for quenching them into water. Who was doing that? Don't stick your tongs in the water. Just sit them down and get another pair. If you don't have enough tongs to sit one pair down and let them cool off and get another one, then go get some more tongs. You never run out. It's like ammo. Somebody's gonna take them. You're gonna leave them somewhere. Don't give them to anybody. You think you're being generous when you give somebody your tongs, but you'll regret it. Like, I had those pair of tongs one time. It was the best pair I had. And I gave it to that loser who likes to forge blades. Probably doing that because I have a high vanadium content in my... Damn, huh? Charlie, I kind of want to just turn that a little bit into this way. There we go. All right. Take two. Oh, that I can measure with this one, can't I? I turned it off. Shit. Yeah, let it reboot. I want to see how thick it is. You can measure with this right here. All right. 0. That's 1 inch. So right now we're at 1 inch by 1 1/4 inches, and I don't care how long it is. So I'm gonna take it down a little bit more, and the same with that one. One of these I'm gonna stop at. I'll pick which one I wanna make the blade out of. What's that?
Measure it.
Oh, I was measuring it on here. I like that. They're about the same. Okay. Now I gotta remember which is the back side of it. This is the side I want to be the back. You said the top of the cake. You said the top of the cake should be the back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Top of the puck should be the
All right, so I don't know. The top is going to be the back of the blade, and the bottom will be the edge of the blade. Okay, I think I got that right. Almost slipped that. All right. Warm.
Need a fan?
I don't need a fan. All right, now we're getting somewhere. I'm gonna bring what will be both sides down a little bit more, and then really start playing with the making it taper a little bit of pointiness, and then I'll start getting the shape I want with the heel or the choil, and then the tang and all that stuff. Edge, spine. This is the one I like better. This is good. Anybody want to touch it? Don't do it. Okay, I'm getting so close now. Work on this side a little bit. There we go. All right, that's going to be the tang. This will be the bolster, and the rest will be the blade. Just getting that set up here. I'm pretty confident now that it's not going to crack or anything, so we maybe move a little bit quicker, I think. Anybody need to take a break or anything? You guys good? Yeah? Talking to y'all. Okay. Oops. I'm just putting like you're making a tenon. I keep telling myself I'm going to just work on one of them, but it's too impatient. I wonder how cold we can screw this. I get that tang made, it's just like making a tendon if you're doing blacksmithing. Then I'll play with the bolster area a little bit. I usually leave them pretty squared up because I want to I'll grind this knife all clean more than likely. I won't leave any forged scale or anything on it because I want to see what the pattern looks like in the crucible steel, also known as Wootz. No one has that patented. And I don't care if they do. Both at the same time. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Kelly. Something that I'm doing while I'm doing this, when I first started, I was watching people forge, and they'd forge perfectly smooth and smooth, and it took them forever to forge a blade. Smooth, 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 smooth. I don't do that anymore. I forge everything, I want to get there as quick as possible. Once I start getting into my material, then I'll go back and smooth it out and refine it. All right, it's just more of a direct forging technique. If you guys know who Brian Brazil is, he's a master of it. It's a lump and then boom, now it's a horse in like 2 heats. So those are techniques. You don't need to forge smooth, smooth, smooth all the time. You can just get it there. It's like anything. It's a process of refining. Like if you do a sketch, don't try to make it perfect at first. Just get it on there and then go back and clean it up with bolder and bolder lines. And that's what I'm working on here. I'll do this with you. I don't remember signing up to do 2 knives, but I guess that's what I'm doing. 2, 1 for each hand. It's a little tree, kind of. All right. Charlie. Getting a little too cold. A little bit cold. Okay. Now I gotta remember which was the front and which was the back. The back is the top, right? Spine would be the top. Okay, I got you. All right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't mess with it. Huh. Popsicle. One lick? Popsicle? No. That's a lot of steel. That'll make a big old mess right there. Top, back. All right. Okay. I think I got that one down. Pay attention to it. Part is remembering which side is the edge and the spine. So I'm going to really define that in a minute. You know what I need for here in a second, Charlie? Just like a little kiss, there's a little block or something that I can use.
What?
Just a little small block, like to offset something.
So
Just a little chunk of
isolate the
steel,
bolster?
like square, rectangle, either one's fine. Not real big, just
Need a cheese wedge?
something like that, yeah. Yeah, perfect, yeah. That's perfect. Okay. Is this on? Yeah, I like that better. Hey, thanks. Thank you. This tool, everybody knows what this is, right? I don't either. It just looks cool. I'm gonna use it though.
Cheese wedge.
Cheese wedge, yeah. Indiana cheese, totally different from Wisconsin cheese. All right, I got these tongs, and then I want some other tongs.
Isolate this thing.
So now I'm going to isolate the blade from the bolster. Hot. This one's hotter, so I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so what I did is this is gonna be the bolster, and that'll be the blade. So you see how much material I have. Now, I gotta remember which is the top and the bottom again. That's the top, that's the bottom. Can we write on it? Good.
Do a little center punch mark.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's the bottom, top. Yeah. It'd be good to remember that. I don't know why this thing's so cruddy on the edge. And that looks cruddy. It looks cruddy on that side too, so that makes it easier. Don't you think, Charlie? You guys want to see where I am now? What? Oh yeah. Oh, look at there. Camera. That's cool. All right, we'll do the next. I think I can remember. Let's do mark it. Let's mark that as the back. Just do it on the blade.
On the blade?
Yeah, I'll get once I get it going on.
Huh? Right there?
Yep. Oh, good enough. This one should be easy to remember also. Same thing. A lot of tang. I got more tang on this than the astronauts took to the moon. Oh, now this one's way easier to tell. But that's the top. Come here, look at this. All right, so I do have a little bit of weirdness going on there.
Ooh.
Should I grind that out?
Probably.
Hey, wait. That's the bottom, that's the top. All right, so this one I got a little bit of splitting, but I'm gonna, oh yeah, I knew that. You see it? I just probably moved it too fast. Yeah, it didn't like that. So I'm gonna grind a little bit of that out real quick with these other tongs. Thanks. Let's see. That's not very deep. Yeah. There you go. That is, I'm pretty sure though, that's the top of it. Yeah, it's not deep. Put it on the top. That's just... Whoa, bro. A little bit more. Okay. All right. So it wasn't very deep. Probably just some... All right. Okie dokie. Back in you go.
I don't want the tension.
Oh, yeah.
Locked down.
All right. Are there radius dies for this thing?
Top?
Back. So can we change, do you have different dies for this? That would be awesome.
They, yeah.
They have them?
It's a little too heavy, but it'll still work.
Oh.
It hits better without them, but if you want to try them.
Well, it's not, yeah, that's fine. We'll just keep going this way. All right, so I got my isolation. That is the edge. This is the spine. I knew that. That's the edge. I just wanted to grind to see if I had stuff on it, you know, stuff. Okay, this is taking a lot longer than normal. All right. What? What happened?
The breaker. We turned them both on at the same time.
Oh, man. All right. Trip the breaker. Now it's going to go quicker. Ready? Got to rewire the system. You guys got one of these? Charlie made that, I bet. Charlie, you made this one?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Here to measure. I like that it's not in Canadian, too. That's good. I know this is taking a while, but that's just, it takes a while.
But
All right. Oh, we don't need them both. Just turn that one off. We don't need it. Okay, getting closer. So one of the problems when you're making integrals is it getting away from you. So I'm gonna rough shape this a little bit more, then I'm gonna push to one side and we'll see a definite edge and spine. Right now it's just more spear pointed, which is not what it's gonna be like. Can I use a foot pedal on here? Edge, spine. All right. All right, that'll be the edge, that'll be the spine. Is this running again? I'm just gonna tune this up a second. Now, which side was the back? That side's the back. All right, good. All right, back, front, got it. Making sure. All right. All right, better. Okay, all the crookedness I can fix in a minute. Back, edge. Now. Tidy this up real quick. Sometimes I get so lumpy I can't remember where I'm going, so I want to tune that up just a bit. Okay. Turn this around and get this lumpy part. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Keeping hold of it. Okay, that's better. Okay. Okay. All right. Something I like to do at this stage where I still have a lot of mass in my material is start getting, like I'm making a preform, and then I'm gonna make the knife bigger and bigger. So I have a lot of thickness and mass. I want to pull out a certain width. So on any kind of chef's knives, I like them to be wide. I think they look good. I want the choil to be underneath my pinch grip. I don't want it to be way out front. So hopefully we can do that easy. All right, I want to maintain this area here. So once I get this bolster established and which side my edge is going to be on, I try to not touch this anymore. I'm going to need to straighten it because it will get away from me, as if you've ever made one of these, you well know it's going to be all over the place. And keeping it straight can be a little bit tricky. But the first area I want to work is right here where the choil is. I don't want to make it razor blade thin. I want to have all this mass and bring it down here. So I'm used to a different hammer, so bear with me. It's going to take a little bit longer, as it has been doing. But we'll turn that into a chef's knife. But I'm not a chef, and many of you probably are either. So in that case, it'll be a cook's knife. All right, that's the difference. The chef knows how to use it. We're just having fun with it. Like, I got a cool knife. As we're going along, if you guys have a question or something about what I'm doing, I hate to have you raise your hand, but I can see you easier than I can hear you. So if you got a question and you want me to explain something, I'll try my best. Still very lumpy right now, so we'll get it smoother and smoother. I don't know. All right, good to go. I'm gonna put one of these aside in a second and just mess with the other one. I keep saying that, but I haven't done it yet. So, I'm gonna set this one aside for now. Just gonna put it up here. This area I'm going to be real careful with because I really want it to be in its place before I start making it longer or anything. And I will make it longer, but I want to get my width here first. There's not many rules when it comes to certain like design. It could be a good looking design or an ugly design. But there ain't no rules about it, so it's kind of your choice. Like if I set up certain parameters here, put my choil underneath my pinch, it'll look good, but it'll also function good. Number one is function, number two is style. And most people don't have their own style. That's why you copy somebody else's. That's the best way to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think Pablo Picasso was famous for doing it and then taking credit for it. But if you see something you like, or you want to come up with a new design, don't look at knives. If you're a knife maker, you want to come up with a new design, do not look at knives anymore. Don't look at the magazines, don't look at other people's knives. Get a sketchbook, look at cars, look at architecture, look at bugs, look at birds, look at other things like that, and add subtlety to it. And then you'll have your own design. That's where you'll get your own design from. But you will not get your own design from looking at other knife makers' knives. And if you get, sometimes like me, you only make you irritated probably. So, and that's bad too. You shouldn't be irritated. You should be happy when you see other people with better designs than you are. You know, it makes me happy now. I used to not. All right. Wait a minute. Back there, get the tongs that I want. Maybe these tongs. These are probably the best tongs. Nobody makes tongs this good. Best tongs I've ever used. True. something I actually learned from Charlie right here. So this is something I learned by watching you. You might not do it the same way now, but... Okay. Getting lumpy, but I'm getting where I want. All right, now I'll push that back and I'll start making it flatter. I'm liking this better now. No, I never know what I'm getting into when I get in front of an audience of people that I primarily don't know, the tools that I'm not familiar with. But if somebody says, hey, you want to come do that? I'm like, yeah, I'll go do it. Don't be afraid to try. Yeah, these are good. Don't stick these in water. You guys will forget. Anybody over 50 is going to forget that instantly. Probably over 40. I'm over 50, but I remember because I don't want to break my tools. I remember the first time I had tongs and I was doing that, and there were some, nice tongs, very springy handles like these have. That's what makes them so nice because you can get a great grip on stuff. That's important. And I kept sticking them in water and they broke. And I'm like, why did they break? Oh, it says right on the tongs, 5160. Shouldn't have done that. Don't do that. Don't place things in the water. This will probably have to be quenched in water. The higher the carbon content, the less time you have to get from 1500 degrees, which would be like austenizing, down below so you can form martensite. Anybody ever heard those words before? I don't know Martin or Austin. I know two people named that, but I don't think those are the guys, different people from another time. But I'm trying to get down, so when I quench this blade, it's probably gonna have to be like, I like salt water, or hot salt water. It's kind of weird, but it's safer than oil. You quench in oil, you get a lot of fire, right? Who quenches in oil gets a lot of fire? You're doing it wrong. Stop doing that. You're doing it wrong. Who quenches in a PVC pipe? Stop doing that. That's dumb. I'm telling you, if you're doing it, you're stupid. You could burn your shop down. Don't do it. I was stupid one too. I was quenching blades. It was a PVC pipe, and I had some really high-grade peanut oil in there. And I was quenching the blade. I had a bunch of them. And all of a sudden, it just unrolled like a sock. I was like, that was the coolest. I always had a video that was really cool. I didn't get a fire though. And then after that, I had my friend Jimmy Chin. He's from Taiwan. He goes, yeah, that was really dumb. Burn your whole shop down. So I got a steel quench tank that I still have, and I have a bigger one. I have different tanks for different things. I have one for tomahawks. It's just a different shape. I have a tall one for swords. I don't fill them all the way to the top. You don't want a fire. That means you're doing something wrong. Don't put it in and out. Put it in and leave it in. All right? If you watch, there's a TV show out and everybody that quenches catches stuff on fire. I think 4 or 5 of those guys burn their whole shop down. That's a hard way to learn. Don't do that. I want that pointing at me, pretty much. Okay, that's starting to look better. Okay, it looks better this way, not that way. Okay, getting there, it's getting closer. All right, I always like to try and go back to straight before I start forging anything, because my forging, like I was saying, it's all rough, it'll be very lumpy. So the straighter I have, the more in line everything is, the better it's gonna look. One of the biggest problems with making integrals, now that we've moved on, yes, it's still Woots, is keeping them aligned. And when they're, get over there. When they're thick still, it's easy, but the thinner you get them, the more it'll be like off and canted. If we run into that, I'll show you how to fix it. Charlie showed me how to fix it. I was not making integrals until he showed me this cool trick. So if we run into it, great. If we don't, you have to watch a video that somebody made on how to do it. But it's something you can do, but you got to do them. What is that? Pig iron. If anybody has iron that they found out in a steel in the field or something that's kind of lumpy and bumpy and you don't want it, you can give it to me. Suspect meteorite iron is always cool.
You want to let everybody know that the food truck is here?
Oh, hey, the food truck is here. If you guys want to go get something from the food truck, it is out there. I'm just going to keep going until I'm done. So feel free to go and get it. Of course, you know, we have these, it's like painting, and then the painting part is when I'm working. This is the watching it dry part. So food truck is available now. All right. And I keep throwing the tongs down. What do I do with it? I'll just use these. Okay, Charlie, I'm ready. Keep it hot. I don't want to have crack. I hate to work this hard on this. Make the steel, work on the steel, forge the steel too cold, and have a crack in it. All right, now we're going to go back over here and do a little, play with that offset again. That, this and this and that, okay? You know what? I like that little block that you had.
Yeah.
Can you have that back?
Yep.
Oh, it's right here. I got it. This is important if you can see what I'm doing. Can you see this? I found it. All right, so what I was doing was using that little block up under here to push that back down, all right? My focus still is getting this choil pointing back at me, and it's still thick. That's an important part of the knife. It's the choil or the heel on your chef's knife. You want it to be underneath this. Even if I don't use all of it, and I've got a lot of steel, I have it. I can use it, okay? I think I need to change up my tongs. I need a little bit smaller bit. These are 3/4. I need one that's like just a little bit smaller to grab that tang. No, I want to tuck these in. See, I didn't do it. Don't do it. All right. Straighten it out. Straighten the tang out. Do that. That looks awful. Better, okay. Okay, better, preformed shape. It's looking good. I don't have any cracks. All right. Good. Go back this way. So now I'm at a little over 1/4 inch, and I've got my preform totally set up. There's pretty much no chance of that being way up here now because I've already put it in the direction I want it to be pointing back at me when I'm laying it on the anvil. Does that make sense? Anybody ever make a kitchen knife with a heel that's pointing away from you? That's bad. You want it pointing at you, all right? Even if you don't need all of it, it's better to be down there. Okay. Pretty good. Good? Okay, I think we're gonna get back into that and use these. I need a bigger forge for this knife. It's getting bigger. Who was forging? I saw some of you guys forging axes yesterday. That's kind of cool. Making a big axe, a 3 or 4 pound axe. That's a lot of work. How long on average do it take you to punch the hole and get the eye right? Anybody know? I don't know because I don't make them. A long time?
Still working.
You guys should follow Hoffman Blacksmithing and watch how they do it. One heat, doot, 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 done. It's pretty wild. Paint dry. All right, so where my heel is, it's going that way. Still plenty thick. If you're making this and it's too thin there, then you got, well, it's too thin. You want to make sure you have all that mass in there before you start doing any like edge forging. Not all the way close. Probably made the tang a little too. I got a bad habit of making the tangs too long. I don't need it that long. A lot of times when I make these knives, it's like, if the handle's 5 inches, I like 4 inches to be in the handle on a hidden tang. But I leave them wide. My tangs are very wide on my knives, whether it's a chopper or a kitchen knife. I don't like little round ones or 1/4 by 1/4 inch ones. That's gross. Don't do that. Make it robust. That's like the foundation, the building foundation. You put all that weight on top, which would be the knife, with no foundation. It's not good. It's good for Bowie knives though, because nobody uses those. They do use David Bowie knives. I don't know what for. You make your Bowie knife a little bigger and don't sharpen the back, you can call it a camp knife or a chopper. What is the difference? If you look at some of those really old ones, like the San Francisco style ones, I never thought of them as buoys. I always thought of them more as daggers or dirks. And I hated them right up until about 3 weeks ago. I have two friends, knife makers, and they both made one, like modern interpretations. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually pretty cool looking, you know? It's actually a pretty good looking knife. I changed my mind on the design. It's very simple and elegant. All right, this is getting a little lumpy. I'm just gonna tune the shape up a little bit here. Oops, well, that wasn't good. I don't need the handle to be like that, so I'm fix. All right, that's getting better. Again, I know I'm going slow here, but see how twisted I got it? That happens every time. If you do the tang last, you probably never have that problem. Fix. All right. You don't want to do a dropped handle on a kitchen knife. You can do the butt can be like that or something, but it don't need to be. It needs to kind of go up the back. The spine on it should flow right along with the handle. And then you can do something at the very back, like on the pommel or the booty. Some people call it a pommel. I call it a booty. All right. Now we're gonna get a little quicker here. I'm gonna take all this material, make it longer. Hey,
that might work better on the tanks. You try it.
Tanks.
Those might work better on the flat though.
Okay. I was gonna throw them down, but I'll set them over here nicely. All right. These are nice. I think it is the titanium. My leg is broken and there's a titanium rod in it, but the bone's not totally fused back together. So I'm trying to figure out which leg I want to use on there. And I think that it could be interfering with the frequency, the psionic waves. Make up words. Remember, if you can't think of a word, just make one up. Especially if you're doing a talk. Everyone will be like, that's a crazy word you just used. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. It's getting there. This will end up being about I don't know, like 8-9 inch kitchen knife, which is kind of perfect. Trying to not over forge it. I got a bad habit of over forging.
Temperature good. We can turn them.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. So one of my favorite ways to make knives now, I used to do everything super clean, super crispy, hand rub finishes. I did that from like 2001 till, I don't know, 2004 or 5. And no, 12 probably. But then I really love to forge the blade totally to finish. I want to forge it all the way down to sharp. And there's a serious art to it. You can just leave forging, but not have a cross section that's nice and fine. And a lot of times when I'm forging on a kitchen knife, I like to make a cross section where the middle, like 2/3 of it is like this, and then the last part is just the edge, and it comes down to sharp. So it's kind of like if you were grinding it, if you've heard of an S grind, it's like forging that in. So it makes all the stuff fall of it. But I really love the look of the blade that's totally forged to finish. Sometimes doing a little bit of both. I'm finding now that when I do a knife and I make it all clean, nobody wants it. I just had a show, I had 10 knives. The ones that sold were ones with the forging left on them. The ones that were super just clean finishes, nobody wanted them. I eventually sold them, but it's just one of those things. You got to find the thing that you like, but you got to be careful because it might get really popular and then you can't make the other stuff anymore. But I do still do a lot of Damascus, which is not Wootz. Who wants to argue? Thanks, Charlie. That looks kind of like a witch's shoe, the Wicked Witch of the West. It's getting nice. Okay, tune that up. Now I know, now I gotta go buy more tongs because I just found out I like these a lot. Okay, we're getting closer. We're nearly done. Okay, now I have lumpy. I can't do that. You have to film. This is an area I'm still thick where I want it to be. I'm still going to refine this. If I was to cut this in half, I'm trying to get length and width, but also profile. So I'm working on 3 things at a time. Length, width, profile, okay? I don't want to make an ugly knife. I want to make a good looking, elegant, useful knife. Number 1 is it works. Number 2, it's sexy, I hope. I will rely on a little bit of grinding for that. I'm not going to try to be too much of a smart aleck and forge it all the way to like infinity because then it'll be over forged. So let's do a little bit more refining now. I'll go back and make some stuff flat again. I like this forge. Some really smart person must have designed this. Who was that? Who? Logan, mastermind. It doesn't look like all them brains would fit in that head, but they do. It's weird, right? Like, and people think I'm really smart, but I just have a big head, and there's like 2 or 3 brain cells, and they're all holding hands in there, like, don't let go. Don't let go, he'll pee his pants. Don't let go. I always like to clean the scale off the anvil. Number 1 reason is when you're forging, it'll hit you in the face if you don't clean it off. You can brush it off. You can wipe it off with your hand. You can wipe it off with somebody else's glove. Somebody else's glove, you can do that too. Anybody know what this pattern anvil is called? What? London pattern, yeah. This is exactly the same kind of anvil. They used to say Acme on them when I was a kid. And this guy, Wile E.I. Cody, would be like, hello? I need to get a big anvil. Yes, I'm going to drop it on a Roadrunner. I know they're really fast, but I'm going to try it anyway. Yes, every single time. I'm going to keep doing it. What about a gun? No, that'd be dumb. I'm going to use an anvil. I'm going to drop it on a Roadrunner and kill it. You know what I mean? Can you come up with some other way to kill a Roadrunner? That's kind of weird to me. I don't know. Okay. I want to brush a little bit of, yeah, I do. I want to brush. It's getting pretty scaly. Oh, that's pretty. Now I'm going to go over here, get some dimensions. That's a nice thing about using both of these tools together. Okay, here's what I got. Can you see that the blade is a little offset from the tang? See what I'm talking about? I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna mess with the blades. I'm almost done, believe it or not. If the tang is thick enough, you don't need to worry about it. Like, don't chase it, because you're gonna grind it anyway. You're gonna grind it to be even anyway. You don't need as much steel as I have, but you can knock it over. Charles, you got one of them chisels?
To straighten out the blade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find something.
I'm just gonna push it over. If you think about steel as if it were clay, you will not run into too many problems when you're forging. If you think about it, if it's like as it's steel, you'll always fight it. You'll always be fighting it. The second you start seeing this, the steel is having the same plasticity as clay, then you can overcome almost any obstacle. It just takes a little bit of time and thinking about it. Chisel, but it's sharp. Just want to round it off. Is that rounded one?
What are you doing?
Like a rounded chisel?
We can round if you want.
No, I don't want to. I'll just make new. I'll just figure it out. Hey, what are these? Things that
You were
people...
wedging it in the bike.
I'm going to do that too, but I was going to try and tap it. Oh, I got it. You know what?
I got a fuller.
You got a straight peen hammer? I should have brought that.
I got a fuller.
Okay, or a straight peen? Go back. I'm going to play with the shape here just for a second. Happy with that. All right. And let's see if we can knock that over just a little bit. If I'm not too late, I might run out of time. Where's that at? Let's see, where's this? Right here. Thanks. Okay, that should have done it. A little too cold, but. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay. So let me see if that worked. It's pretty good. So I was out of alignment here, and it's still. Let me straighten it, and then you'll be able to see it a little easier. I'm not going to over forge this because I want to grind it clean. So there's a certain amount of dimensions that you can go to when you're making a chef's knife. I don't necessarily need to forge the cross section perfectly from the spine down. I just want to make sure, especially because it's an integral, I have my bolster, I have the heel where I want it, I have the shape where I want it, and I have enough thickness because it will grind very quickly. So I don't want to overdo it. I'm not leaving forging on this knife. Okay. Squishy. This. Pretty straight. I'll do that later. Okay, now I'm gonna go back and finish the blade. And I'll use these tools. I'll set these somewhere I can remember. This, okay. Now I'm gonna get my final shape. I'm Pretty thin. It's a little over 1/8 of an inch, but by the time I'm done grinding, I don't really care how thick it is on the back. I know some people really worry about it. What I'm interested in is where does it end up on the edge? And I will grind this thing after it's hardened to like 10 thousandths with a 80 grit or 60 grit belt, and then I'll start finishing it. And however thin the edge is then, I don't really care. I just want it to work and cut. So if it's right at 1/8 of an inch when I'm done, perfect. If it's thinner, perfect. I don't need it to be razor blade thin on both sides. I want it to be a nice taper. I like the look of that. I like the feel of it. I don't want to make the knife so light I can't feel it. Some people like them. I don't. I like it to be a little heavier. I like to use another pair of tongs to back this up instead of just holding the end of it and kind of working it out here. I like to have 2 tongs to hold it and control it. I'm not just working out here. The closer you get to the work and the hammering, whether it's over the anvil or whatever, the more accurate you're going to be able to forge. Getting close. All right, getting down to it. So, if you've ever forged a knife before, that is the easiest part of the whole process, forging the blade. Now the real hard work begins because you gotta normalize it, and then you gotta grind it, and you gotta harden it, and temper it, and finish it, and put a handle on it, and not get cut, and not make it too thin, or not make it too thick. Don't overheat it, it's like a whole bunch of processes. A lot of times, I have a school also. I've taught here at this school. It's a lot of fun to share the information with 2 or 3 or 4 people in a class, because I like to watch the lights turn on as you begin to do it by hand, and you're in there and oh, I see now. I was watching this, seeing it in 2 dimensions, but now you're now you're actually experiencing it. It's always fun to watch those lights come on, because I try to take as direct of a path to forging as I can. We're here talking, audience, it's a little bit different, but I'm hoping to convey the information as best as possible. This thing is scaling up. Maybe we could turn the heat down just a little bit. Now I'm just straightening it. I'm not trying to do there's no such thing as edge packing or none of that. If you've heard that, that is bullshit. All you're doing is, if it was true, you could take a 1-inch cube of steel and forge it into a 1/2-inch cube of steel and it weigh the same. And you can't do it unless it's cast iron, but that's even trickier. But the point is if I'm tapping it and moving it around, I'm just trying to straighten it. Or planish it. That's a big difference. Planishing is making it smooth. I like to do that, and sometimes it can be confused as, I know they do that a lot in Arkansas, and I was in a class, and this guy was going on and on about it, how he was condensing the molecules and making the steel more dense, and I believed it. And then I did some reading, not Googling. You can Google all you want. That doesn't mean it's the truth, but you do some research and read and find out, is that true? Well, only steels that can, only things that can condense is stuff that had more space in it. You know, like there's not really a lot of space. Even we're doing this crucible, there's not much more room to go there. So that's a mythological bladesmithing term. Mythological bladesmithing. All right. Now it's getting really crooked. So I'm just going to go. I'm trying to feel to make sure I don't have any cupping. That's all I'm looking for. I don't want the flat to be arced one way or the other. I want to make it nice and. The edge thickness is variable, but again, I know I'm going to totally grind this clean. So I've got, here's my edge profile, here's my spine. My hands would be off of the board. I could use that knife very nicely. And I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a squeeze in here and finish it out. Because we still don't know if we're going to win. See, this is unknown steel. And now it has to survive the normalizing, grinding, heat treating process. So one of my favorite ways to straighten stuff, I don't sit there and dink with it with a hammer. I just squeeze it in my vise, or I'll squeeze it in the press. But this is a very easy way. And I remember this is another one of those things amongst bladesmiths. I was doing this, and someone who was shaking their head, no, got to straighten it with the hammer. You can't do that. Like, why? That's parallel. And you squeeze it and it gets straight. And then I can also see if everything else is lined up. So I can come in here, looking at that. Squeeze the spine first. There's a big vise. I like that it doesn't move. So I'm turn up and then do the edge. Straighten the edge out. Now, I'm talking a lot, but if somebody has a better technique, I will take it. I will use it, I will learn it, I will study it, and I will thank you for it. Because I'm always looking for better ways to do this. I'm interested in whatever the kind of the newest technology is. I don't know if I might want to, I don't know, I think I like it. It's pretty straight. I better heat that up. The bad idea to start to straighten anything after you've been forging it while it's cold. Don't do it. Don't be tempted to do it. It's all cold. Normalize it a couple times. Then you can straighten it cold if you want to, but don't try to do what I was thinking about it, but I stopped myself. Hey. Woots. This is Woots.
I told Seth he should come around and help knock this out for you.
I know. Right? I did take a long time. Straight. Not straight. Straighter. Okay. Oh, wait. I might have that problem I was talking about. Let's see. It's always great when you have it after you've gotten everything together. It's not too bad. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, so close. I have a little extra room everywhere, so that's nice. I just want to make sure I like this profile. See. So this is the idea here. Okay, I knew I saw something I didn't like. See, there's a little gap there. That could be the anvil. Let's go to a flat anvil. Anybody got a Peter Wright anvil that doesn't have a sway in it? You do? It must be new. All right. So I'm looking for flat surface. It looks, I want just a subtle arc. Okay, that'll be good. Now, I'm gonna just barely kiss this on the grinder, just a wee little bit. Can everybody see this shape here? Went from our cake of woots. See? To this blade. And there's something I gotta do something. There's just something bugging me there. I gotta fix this. Okay. So close. Oh, that's nice. I know that didn't seem like much, but I like that better. Okay, now I got to straighten it again. That's hot enough to straighten. Warping. Sometimes if you're trying to straighten something and you're getting warping and warping and warping, you might need to normalize at one time. Normalizing is basically, I'm going to get it up to 1500 degrees. It might be a little lower than that. Let's just say 15 to be a basic line and let it air cool. I don't ever anneal any blades. I have no reason to anneal blades because I have carbide tools and ceramic belts. So annealing is out of the question for me. I have no reason to do that. And if I was going to do it, I'd do it before I did any other stuff. So I don't need to anneal. All right. Like that. That's another thing that's kind of cool. If you make your knife and it looks like it's moving, it's also appealing to other people, usually. If you like Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Corvettes and McLarens and stuff like that, you know, it's movement. the knife. You can turn that off. Hey, you can turn that off. Yeah. Okay. So there's just some subtle grinding that I'll do on this on the profile. And then once I grind the profile first, and then I will start normalizing the thing. I usually do it 3 times, and then I'll do all my grinding, and then I'll go back and I'll harden it and temper it. Now with this thing, I believe we'll have to harden it in water, correct? Otherwise, it ain't getting hard, because it's 1.47773210% carbon. So remember that decimal, 1.400. All right, okay, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please grab me, or if I can help you with something, let me know. And if I can't, then I can't. Some people can't be helped. I've watched you forge yesterdays. All right, thank you guys, that's it. This is our Woots integral kitchen knife. I'm gonna set it right, well, like this. I'm gonna do that's what Kamimura does. I like that, I'm gonna do that. It's hot too. If you want to lick it, go ahead. Just let me know what the results are like. You know, what does it taste like? Tanks.